Well, hello, everybody, and welcome. Thank you for joining us today. I am John with IGB Solutions. We are going to run through the Verkada technology with you today and how it pertains to the Illinois gaming industry. We have been working with the Illinois gaming industry for roughly 2 years now in a marketing and technology aspect. We are now becoming the leading surveillance provider here in Illinois for gaming terminals, terminal operators. We're based here in Chicago, Illinois, and we've deployed over 1,500 locations throughout the state. We're currently working with several terminal operators now, and we're looking forward to working with the rest of you as we get closer to the compliance deadline here.
Yeah, so then just a little bit of background about Verkada. So like John said, we've been working with IGB Solutions Group over the past year or so. I know we've spoken to a number of you. But, for those of you who we haven't chatted with yet, I'm just going to go through, a couple of slides on background, and then we can jump into the actual interface. We'll show you kind of our side, and then John will jump in and show you what it looks like from a terminal operator perspective. But a little bit of background about Verkada. So we are currently the fastest growing video security company in the world. We're based in San Mateo, California, just south of San Francisco. Recently raised our Series C funding. That put our valuation at about $1.6 billion, with some of our top investors in Meritech, Sequoia, First Round Capital, some of the same VC firms that brought you Facebook, Airbnb, Uber, some of the bigger technology companies here in the Bay Area. But a little bit of history about us. So we were founded in 2016 by a group of Stanford and MIT computer scientists, as well as Hans Robertson. Hans Robertson was one of the co-founders of Meraki. And when Meraki sold off to Cisco back in 2012, he got together with our other founders with really the goal of creating the most modern enterprise video security system out there. So what that means for our customers is no more NVRs, no more DVRs, no more servers, nothing outside of the camera itself. We also have the ability to tie into an Active Directory or really any identity management system that you might use, really making us a secure solution from both a physical and a cyber perspective. But apart from being, the most secure solution, they really want it to be scalable. Whether it's one camera, 10 cameras, or 10,000 cameras, we have customers with hundreds of sites and thousands of cameras across the globe, all while not being tied to the number of available ports on an NVR or a DVR. Additionally, we're doing a ton of things around artificial intelligence applications, things like people analytics, vehicle analytics, object detection, and we'll show you a couple of those here in a minute. But one of the unique benefits about our solution is anytime we come out with a new update, whether that's a feature or functionality, that update's automatically pushed to the firmware of all of our customers' cameras. So as long as you're a paying customer, you're going to have the latest from a feature and functionality standpoint. And we'll touch on a couple features we pushed out about a month ago that now all of our customers have access to at no additional cost. So I'll quickly touch on this. This is your traditional system. Some of you may be familiar with this. You may have it set up at some of your locations. You have your cameras wired into a switch connected to an NVR or a DVR on site, but really only the ability to view that being tied to this monitor or local PC with a thick client. Now, if you wanted to view that remotely or view that online like everyone does, you're going to have to VPN in, open up a firewall, open up a port, which isn't necessarily the easiest thing to do. It also leaves your network open to a number of different vulnerabilities because you do have to open up that firewall or open up a port. It's not because hackers necessarily want to get into your cameras. It's just an easy access point. And then as far as, the IGB compliance goes, it's virtually impossible or it gets very, very difficult to scale with the 30 days of backup that's required with the new surveillance requirements.
How familiar does this picture look to a lot of you guys? This is sort of standard procedure at a lot of locations when you walk into the IT room or wherever we have the DVRs and the modems. It can get messy. DVRs are a pain, and they're difficult to scale, and they're difficult to manage when you have multiple locations. One of the great features of the Verkada technology is there is no DVR, no NVR. We're running a camera and one Ethernet cable, and that is it. when we buy DVR systems and when we buy cameras that go with those DVR systems, that hardware that you're buying that day, that's what you get. It doesn't get better. It doesn't learn. It doesn't update. If you need new technology, you're going to have to replace that, and you're going to have to buy new technology. Verkada hardware updates regularly with firmware right over the internet, where you don't have to do anything. So as time goes on, as new features are needed, as new regulations are released, Verkada is constantly developing to improve that hardware and improving it just by shooting firmware updates right over the internet. It's a fantastic solution to scalability and to never having to buy another system again for your locations. Bandwidth restrictions is another huge issue. DVR systems pushing HD footage to a cloud is near impossible. Verkada has figured out a way to downsample their footage and to get it off to the cloud on Amazon Web Servers in an efficient manner where, regardless of your internet connection, it's able to be done. We've run a lot of proof of concept installations for a lot of you that are on this call today. I see 3 or 4 of you that currently have our cameras in your locations as of today. You guys have picked the locations with the worst internet that you have on your routes. And I think you can all speak on this. We know they work, and they work well. So this is something that you're not going to get with any other technology other than Verkada. And when we talk about that ownership cost over time, there is nothing that compares to it. So this is a big reason why we need to push away from DVRs and go to this new technology. Thanks, Mace.
Yeah. Just kind of touching on how we do that, to all of John's points there. So with Verkada, it's just the camera itself. Each camera has the solid state storage built into it. So it comes in 30, 60, 90, or up to 365 days of retention, just depending on your retention needs. And that's recording 24/7 at 24 frames per second. And all we're doing is we're sending encrypted thumbnails and metadata to the cloud for viewing. So we're not consistently streaming it to the cloud like other cloud providers do, but you can back it up in the cloud. And that's where we meet that 30 days of cloud backup requirement by the IGB. That's all included within our system, and you can pick different times to upload that footage during off hours to really lower the amount of bandwidth that you need. Because at rest, our cameras are only using about 5 to 20 kilobits per second per camera. And to put that in perspective, sending an email over your network is about 25 kilobits. So by far the most bandwidth-friendly solution out there. And you can view this from any device, anywhere, at any time. It's all managed via web browser, which I'll touch on in a minute. We have a mobile application, Apple TV application. And one of the best pieces I think about our solution is each camera comes with a 10-year product warranty. That's about 7 years better than the next best warranty out there. And we're not saying, nothing's ever going to happen to your cameras. All we're saying is if it does, we'll either fix it or we'll overnight you a new one, no questions asked. So you're really getting a true total cost of ownership with Verkada.
Another great feature of Verkada technology is thinking about the future. I briefly talked about how when you're buying DVRs or your current systems, you're not able to upgrade these. You're not able to make them better. You're not able to configure them to allow for new regulations. Well, one thing we need to consider when we're putting money into these locations for surveillance is what will happen in the future. What new regulations are going to come up by the IGB or JCAR? Are they going to require more storage? If they move from 30 days to 60 or 90, well, if you have a DVR system and you need to move from 30 to 60 or 30 to 90, you're looking at having to rip out hard drives and put in new hard drives, additional cost. What about coverage? Are we going to need to add additional cameras? Right now there's no official word on how many cameras need to be in a location. So we're just assuming we need to cover the entire game room and that RT, right? Well, what happens if all of a sudden now we need to add something to the front door or the back door? Well, the scalability on a DVR system and being able to put all of that footage on the cloud is not going to work. Facial recognition, it's out there. there's a lot of talk about it right now. It is not something that is able to be used, but Verkada technology has it, and you can turn it on with the flip of a switch. You know, when we talk about increasing jackpot sizes over time, is there going to be a day when the IGB requires facial recognition for one reason or another? If so, you're ready to turn it on. What about access? IGB right now is saying they only need access when they request it. There may come a day when they want full access all the time. How do you do that with a DVR system? We don't really know. I don't really think it's possible. With Verkada, you can simply add them as a new user to your account, and it's as simple as that. So lots of really cool things that can be done when we talk about the future of surveillance and the future of technology. It's a weird time right now. Everything is closed. I'm guessing all of us here on the call today can wish we could leave our homes here and go back to daily life. While we're sitting here waiting, I've heard off the grapevine that there's been several break-ins throughout some terminal operators. And, after this call, I'd love to hear from any of you guys that are on the call that have experienced any. But I do know firsthand from some of you guys that you have told me that there have been break-ins in the last week. Location owners, they're responsible for their own intrusion systems, their own ADTs, their own alarm.coms. You guys don't really have much control over that until now. With Verkada technology, we can create motion detection within your locations to protect your funds and to protect your machines. And we can set that up based on time, based on areas of coverage, and you can get immediate email alerts and immediate text messages. So what terminal operators are doing right now is they are setting up text message alerts. They're putting a special ringtone for that alert. And anytime that alert goes off in the middle of the night with that special tone, they know something's going on in their location that shouldn't be, and they need to check it out. And it's as simple as clicking that link from what you get text message, and a camera immediately pops up. So adding a second layer of protection with the camera is very important and should be done, and it's really only able to be done with Verkada technology.
Thanks, Sean. So with that, we're going to jump into the actual interface here. So as I mentioned before, everything is managed via web browser. So when you go to command.verkada.com, that's where you can log in. And as soon as you log in, the first thing that's going to pop up here is this Google integrated map. So here you can centrally manage, all of your locations, whether it's one location or thousands of locations across the state, across the country, across the world, from this user interface. And then you can hone in on each region. So if I just focus in here, so this is actually our headquarters in San Mateo, California, and you'll notice that all the cameras are lit up in green. So that means that they're online and they're working. Unlike your traditional system, where unless you're checking it periodically, you may not know for sometimes weeks at a time if a camera's gone offline. We'll actually send you a proactive alert saying, hey, your camera's gone down, and it will show here in yellow so you can see which one it is. Second piece is they all have an accelerometer built into it. So if anyone tries to rip the camera off a wall, hits it with the baseball bat, does anything to tamper with the camera, that accelerometer will go off. It'll send you a notification. It'll also send you a clip of the incident as well. Third piece are all machine learning cameras. So if anyone spray paints the camera, put the hat over it, does anything to distort the image, the camera will notice that occlusion event and send you a proactive alert saying, hey, it looks like someone's been messing with your camera. And then when you click on each camera, you'll get a live feed. You can click on Verkada HQ here. This allows you to upload a floor plan, gives you a good idea of where all the cameras are located within your facility. But I'm going to go ahead and hone in here. So this is our back door. So once you're actually clicked into a camera, there's a number of different ways you can search for an incident or search for information. These are all thumbnails below here. And you can essentially scroll from left to right and see everything that's happened in the past hour, 4 hours, 24 hours, whatever time frame you'd like. One thing to point out is the ones and twos popping up and the blue check marks. That's our people counter. So you can see there's uniquely one person there. Just makes it really easy to scrub through footage and find, where people have been. But I think the easiest way to find an incident is by drawing a motion grid search. So if you wanted to see everyone that's coming in or out of your building in between the date and time frame you select, You just draw a grid, keep an eye on the thumbnails below. It's going to populate with every instance of motion the camera has seen, and you can actually filter by people or vehicles. So now it will only show me when a person has crossed that plane. And when you go ahead and click on that thumbnail, you're going to get the footage itself. So from here, a number of different things you can do. Take a screenshot if you'd like, or you can add cameras. So if you wanted to track the individual throughout the gaming parlor or gaming floor, you can just add cameras here or view it from different vantage points and track individuals throughout. These cameras will sync up, and as soon as you play it back, they'll play back together. But the easiest way to search for a specific person or individual or person of interest is by using our people analytics. So as John mentioned, this is something that might be coming to the IGB at some point. But for right now, it's something you can turn on with Verkada. If you just go to this People tab, this is taking an image of every single individual the camera has seen, and you can filter by their appearance. So if someone reported a suspicious individual or a person causing problems that was wearing a red shirt, you can come in here, search by their appearance, and now it's going to search that camera, or you can search all cameras across your entire organization for every individual wearing red. To take that a step further, if you knew what they looked like, or you had an image of the person's face, you can click on all faces here, and this is going to show you every person that the camera has seen, or you can upload an image of that person, and as soon as you click on that person, now it's going to search that camera for that individual. And again, you can search just this one camera, or you can search across all cameras throughout your organization. And then when you actually click on the image itself, you're going to get the footage. So from here, let's imagine this was the footage that we wanted to share. There was some sort of an incident. We needed to share this with the IGB, or we needed to share this with the police. You can archive this. So you click this arrow in the box. You can share it with your entire organization or save it just privately. And that will save it to this archive section where you can save an unlimited amount of clips for forever. This is all included, within our service. And again, you can view it for your entire organization, or you can filter down and just view archives that you've saved privately. This is all in Amazon Web Services. And then as soon as you go back to click on the actual footage, once you go to play it back, you'll notice it's timestamped. So this was Wednesday, March 4th. There was an incident, outside of our office. We could delete this if we no longer needed it. We can keep notes on there to remind yourself why you saved it, download it in your MP4 format, and share it on a disk or a thumb drive. But what we've heard is sometimes that gets misplaced or gets into the wrong hands or gets lost. So what we've done is create the ability to share a specific clip with a specific person via SMS or email and set an expiration on that. So this is great when the IGB reaches out and says, hey, we need access to this incident, or we want to see what happened here. No more going and trying to find that incident over the course of 4 or 5 hours and figuring out how to download it. You can just text it to the individual or send it via email and set an expiration on that very, very quickly. It's a very secure way to share your footage. So jumping back to sites here, this is where you can organize all of your different locations, all of your different cameras. But let's imagine you got a motion alert. Someone was on site when they shouldn't be. You got a text message, someone's trying to break in outside one of your buildings or locations. You can easily go in and type and find the camera you're looking for. Once you pull it up, as you can see, nothing's going on right now. But let's imagine there was someone breaking in, some sort of active shooter situation where we needed to get, this live feed into the hands of the first responders, the police department, or if the IGB asks for access to one of your cameras, you can easily send a live link of any one of your cameras. And we're the only solution in the world where you can do this. You can set an expiration on it, an hour, day, a week, or a custom amount of time, give them access to all video features and historical footage, or just the live video. And as soon as you send that, they'll get a text message or an email alert, and we'll be able to pull up that live feed. After this, if you send us one of your emails, happy to share this camera out for you guys to play around with and test. Just let John or I know. Second piece, this is one of our outdoor cameras. So very similar to people analytics, we have vehicle analytics tied to this. So in the same way that you can search for a suspicious individual, now you can search for a vehicle. So, let's say someone reported a suspicious white Honda, driving around. You can easily search by make and model, and now it will cut through the footage and find exactly what you're looking for. And again, we're always getting better. This is version 1. There's more coming. And when we come out with those updates, it's automatically pushed to our customers' cameras at no additional cost. So it's only going to get better from here. A couple last things I just want to touch on. If we go to additional settings, this is where you can set up the different motion alerts that John mentioned. We also have an audit log associated. So if you're granting access to different site owners or location owners, because it's uploaded to the cloud per the IGB, or you're able to grant access to those location owners, you can track everything that's happening within the camera and within the system as a whole. And then finally, managing users can be very difficult with a traditional system, especially if you have, upwards of 100+ locations. With Verkada, it's extremely simple. There's usually a blue button here. I don't have access to add people, unfortunately, but as soon as you type in their email, you can assign them different access to different sites and different cameras, or you can assign them to groups. And groups just makes it really easy to manage, hundreds of users. So if you had different groups for your different locations and you wanted to give, the different site owners, access to their cameras, you can get extremely granular here with the access. And then finally, it's a true plug and play system. No more NVRs or DVRs. All you do is plug it in via PoE, either Cat5 or Cat6 cable. You type in the serial number and it's up and running. So it's very simple to set up. And I know John is more than happy to jump on a call and kind of talk about, how he's done it in the past, especially at some of those lower bandwidth locations. So with that, John, I don't know if you want to touch on Lucky Lincoln's organization.
Yeah, I mean, if you just want to run through the org quick, maybe show a couple cameras.
Yeah, definitely.
Show them what it looks like, how we have it spread out. This organization has it spread out by territory. You'll see the majority of the locations have the D80 fisheye. This is a fantastic camera. Basically, what it does, it's one camera here splitting the view into 4 different views. And this allows us to save costs by putting one camera in the location and covering the majority of the space inside. Every frame overlaps a little bit, so you have 0 dead space. You can zoom in. This is what we're doing with the majority of locations. This is the camera. I absolutely love it. It's giving location owners and terminal operators a complete view of what's going on in their establishments. It's fantastic. I love it. For those locations that don't need a D80, for instance, type in Soul Ties, S-O-U-L. We have very few. So this location here, they only have 3 machines. There was some mounting issues where a D80 really didn't make sense. So this is where we put the D40. This is their standard dome, used generally in areas where the D80 doesn't make sense, or there's some terminal operators that are using both cameras. They're using a D80 in the game room, then they're using a D40 on the front door. Or if they have, let's say they have the RT mounted outside of the game room around the corner or something like that, we're using this D40. So we're really only using 2 models of the Verkada lineup. Super high definition. This is a 5 megapixel camera. The D80 is a 12 megapixel camera. Very beefy. For those of you that have met with me already and have felt them, you guys know how beefy these are. It's a fantastic product. I've never seen a surveillance hardware built to this quality before.
Yep.
So some of the other things
I know.
We can create.
Yeah,
grids.
Sorry, John. Sorry, John. I'll jump to that right now.
So if you want to explain the grids for them.
Yeah, so basically grids allows you to manage multiple cameras, put it up on a screen. We have an Apple TV app if you had, a security center or if you wanted to constantly, be checking on all of your cameras, you can add up to 9 per grid, and then you can filter through and essentially, keep an eye on all of your locations and all of your different cameras from just one, single web page here. So I know we're kind of coming to the end of the webinar here. John, I'm going to jump out of here and go back to the slides because I know people probably have some questions around pricing install and things like that?
Yep, let's do it. So, we've seen, incredible success here over the last couple of months. We've been able to secure fantastic pricing with Verkada. I'm just going to come right out and be transparent. This is the pricing per camera. This is what we have here. So the D40, the camera on the left that we just showed you, that single dome, we have that priced at $650. That does include the first year of 30-day cloud storage. That D80, that four-way split that we're putting in every location, we have that priced at $1,365. That does include the first year of 30-day cloud storage. After that first year, you're billed annually at $200 per camera per year. So that comes out to a little less than $17 a month per camera. Installation, a lot of you guys have asked about installation. We are out all over Illinois running installs. Our installation cost is $400 per location. That does include complete training for you, your staff, your techs, whoever you want to be an expert in the command center and the installation process. We train you guys on site. We also do set up all the cameras. We name them. We get them in your command center. We configure them, make sure they're looking good. And then we also give you access to our Badger Maps account. And this is what we use for our logistics as far as getting out there and making sure we stay efficient and making sure that you guys stay notified on what's happening with our installs. So you guys in real time will be able to know where we're at every day and what locations are getting installed and when they get completed. And lastly, we are officially an essential business. We are up and running during this shutdown. We do have some break-ins happening, but more importantly, we have 96 days left until the compliance deadline. We're out there installing. So if you guys want to get started, now is a great time for us to get cameras in. We're here for you. We are out on the route. So to be efficient and to give you that price of $400, now's the time to get on. If we start getting calls a month or a couple weeks before compliance deadline and you guys are asking to get on the books, it's going to be a different story for us. So if you have interest in being compliant and using Verkada technology, now's the time to give us a call.
Awesome. Now we're going to open it up to Q&A. I'm not sure if any of you guys have reached out to Joe in the chat bot, but before we do so, just a reminder, send John or I in chat or send us an email, an email address for you, and we'll make sure we get you guys your Uber Eats, DoorDash, or whatever gift card for attending today. So any questions? Feel free to reach out after this. Happy to answer any questions privately as well. So it looks like we got one question from Shane on the chat. He asked, how do you handle installation outside of your state? I am in the U.S. Virgin Islands.
We can get you taken care of. I would say, give me a call, shoot me an email, we'll connect, and we can talk on your specific case.
Perfect. Any other questions? We'll be sending a follow-up email here too with the recording, so you can share this with your team. And if you have any questions that come up, we will be happy to answer that there as well. We'll stay on for a couple more minutes, just so you guys know everyone is muted. So if you go to the Zoom and you want to ask a question, feel free to unmute yourself and jump in. But if not, feel free to reach out here after the webinar.
I see a lot of people still in here, guys. So again, if you hover over the Zoom, there is a mute button. Everyone is still muted. If you unmute yourself, you then can ask a question, or you can ask it over Slack. the chat Slack.
Looks
We're
like
happy to answer any questions.
Yep, another question. So is there battery backup? So right now, we currently don't, and Joe, feel free to jump in here too. We don't have battery backup on the cameras. What our customers will typically do, especially within the gaming industry, is they'll set up the switch that you connect your cameras to with the backup battery there. So I know that there are switches with backup batteries. So essentially, you lose power, you lose connection. That switch backup battery will be powering all of your cameras. And one thing I do want to mention too that may not have been covered, and maybe a question you guys are wondering is, even if the internet goes out, our cameras will still be recording. So there's no need to worry. If your internet goes down, our cameras are still recording 24/7. And then once the internet is back, then it'll kind of bulk upload everything, and you'll have access to all of that footage. That's a great question.
Yeah, and Mace, one other thing I can touch on regarding battery backups. A lot of the installs we're seeing when we get to a location generally already have battery backups, so we're tying into those. If a location does not have a battery backup, we do highly recommend them. Gendy is able to get wholesale pricing for you guys for battery backups. So if you don't have them and you need them, we can supply them and we can get you a great price on them.
In terms of battery backup, or if the internet goes out, how long does it record for until it runs out of memory?
Well, that's going to depend on the size of your battery backup and how long it's going to stay up. So it depends on how many devices you have plugged into that battery backup and how big the battery is in there. So again, that's sort of a case-by-case situation. Yeah.
And outside of that, I think also too worth mentioning. So we're looking at 30-day cameras here with Verkada. So essentially, you have 30. Because again, remember, as long as the camera still has power, it's still recording. Even if you don't have internet, it's still recording. And the second you get internet connectivity back up, it's going to bulk upload all the thumbnails that it missed during downtime. So essentially, you have 30 days. If you lose internet, you essentially have 30 days to get the internet back up and running. And again, guys, keep in mind with any solution out there today, if you don't have power, the cameras aren't going to work. So power backup is definitely up to the individual. But again, any camera that doesn't have power is not going to be recording.
Yep. Thanks, Joe. And we just got another question. So question was, can we install ourselves? And yes, and I'll let John kind of speak to that. So the pricing that John went over was his install price, and he also can help out with any self installs. But John, why don't you kind of touch on that a little bit more?
Yeah, absolutely. Installation is a breeze. Like we touched on earlier, it's a camera, it's an Ethernet cable, and it's going into your PoE switch or PoE injector, and that is it. We have clients that are installing themselves. We have clients that are utilizing us for a small portion of their route, and then we have clients that have us install all of their routes. So it's completely up to you. I am more than able and willing to, before you guys get started, come over to your offices or your warehouse, show you guys, and give you the rundown on how everything works. But it's very simple. Generally, terminal operators, especially during this downtime right now, I'm seeing TOs using their collectors and their service technicians to go out and do these installs themselves. So yes, you can install yourselves. There is no additional fee if you choose to go that way.
Plug and play. Good question, though. Any other questions out there, guys? Please feel free to drop in the chat or unmute yourself. We're happy to address anything.
I have a question.
Sure, go ahead.
A question about how this can be split between the location and the terminal operator as far the cost of the installation and then monthly fee later on.
Could you repeat that question? Sorry.
I'm asking about the splitting the cost of the installation and then later for the maintenance monthly fee between the terminal operator and the location. How is the rules by IGB? How they looking at it?
Oh, gotcha. I'll let John handle that one.
Yep. So from our understanding, what we're seeing, the IGB is stating that the terminal operator is responsible for 100% of the cost on that. Now, I'm not an attorney. I do know there are a couple of attorneys here in the gaming industry that I would recommend that you talk to them on. But from my understanding, the terminal operator is responsible for 100% of the cost.
Got you. Thank you very much.
Sure. And I have heard some rumbling, just to let you know what I've heard. I have heard some rumbling of some terminal operators saying that they were going to attempt to pass off that cloud storage fee. So, it's included the first year, but after that first year, you will have a fee. I have heard some talk of the TOs passing that cost on to the location owner. I do not know, if that's possible or if it's going to happen, but I have heard talk of it.
Sure. Thank you again.
And again, from Verkada's side, partnering with Gendy, again, we wanted to make this as easy as possible for your guys' industry. So again, hopefully $17 a month per camera is hopefully budgetable in your guys' eyes. Looks like we have another question that dropped in the chat. What is the lead time on ordering? So the good news is, obviously, with the current state of what's going on in the world right now, nothing has impacted our business. Stock is extremely healthy. In fact, we've had no shutdown at all, so there's no delay. Basically, guys, the way it works, if we receive the order before 1 p.m. Pacific time, it will ship same day. If we receive it after 1 p.m. Pacific time, it will ship the next day. Simple as that. So yeah, there's no lead time at all on ordering.
Yeah, I can just speak on how quickly Verkada works. I just put in an order for 400 units. Last week, I received it in a few days. So they're pushing big products, and it comes quick. These guys, they don't mess around. So.
Looks like we still have quite a few participants here. So any other questions, guys?
Yep, we've got another question. It says, where are these cameras manufactured?
Sure.
Joe, I don't know if you want to cover that one.
Yeah, sure. So we're much like Apple in the sense that we do all the engineering right here in California. So we are a Silicon Valley-based company just south of San Francisco. So all the making of the product or designing the product is done right here in California. The assembly and manufacture or assembly of the product is in Taiwan. Not in China. We have nothing to do with anything Chinese related. Our chipsets also probably worth mentioning. We use Ambarella chips, which are also made right here in the USA. So again, we do all the engineering and designing right here in California. The actual assembly happens in Taiwan. And we also do have a warehouse, a very large warehouse here in California too, where we keep the vast majority of our inventory. Sits right here about 5 miles south of us here in California.
Awesome. Another question. So I can handle this one. Are the cameras zoom lens or fixed lens? So we do have different options. So the D80, which is the fisheye, which John ran through when we kind of shared his command portal. That's a fixed lens, but keep in mind all of our cameras can digitally zoom 10x. So essentially, you can, and because of the quality of our cameras, you can virtually kind of pan tilt zoom within the camera. And that way, it's recording everything, but you get the sense that you're zooming in. However, we do have dome cameras that also have optical zoom. So we have a number of dome cameras that have 3x optical zoom. If you wanted to focus in on a certain area, I'm thinking of it like looking in through a telescope, and then they will also have that 10x digital zoom. So a couple different options there.
Yeah, definitely a good question. Thanks, Razi. I think too, just for the industry, there's not really for the use cases we're seeing from our deployments. There's not I don't think a big need for the optical zoom. Again, that 10x digital zoom is going to be plenty sufficient. So you have that fixed area with the ability to zoom in. We don't see a lot of use cases needed to have that optical zoom for your guys' use case, but do know that we do have the capabilities with that dome camera that we were talking about earlier.
Mace, if you want to let me share my screen, I'll show
Sure.
a couple more parlors here while we're sitting here.
Yeah, absolutely. Still have, I think, quite a few attendees here. So again, guys, this is pretty nice, right? I know sometimes they're split out. These these locations. But it's really, really nice, guys. I think John hit it on the head pretty hard. That, again, how nice is that we can offer just one camera and cover you guys completely and also make you guys compliant. Oh, and by the way, how nice is it we have a 10-year product warranty attached to our hardware as well, which, of course, we're not going to sit here and tell you ever one will break. But you guys for 10 years have peace of mind knowing that if it does break, we will replace it. Probably worth showing too, John. Why don't you just back out real quick? Also worth noting, guys, too. I know John has spoke highly of this. Our customer support. Let's say you guys think there's an issue and you guys need to connect with us right away. That help button that John just clicked on, guys, directly connects you with us here in San Mateo, California, and our support team. Okay. And also 96% of cases that come in or tickets that get taken with our system, 96% of them get resolved. For the 4% we can't resolve, again, we are going to be drop shipping you overnight a brand new camera. I think John even has a story that he was on site installing a camera, and we even connected with him in real time pretty much and made sure that the installation went smoothly.
Yeah, you guys, your support's fantastic. I have the direct cell phone number to their lead engineer. Anytime.
That's true, too.
It's been very few times. I've had any issues or questions. I get immediate responses, and we get things taken care of. So as far as the support goes, Verkada is a fantastic organization. We've had nothing but great experiences working with them as we continue to come into this gaming industry here. I mean, this is the company to work with.
Any other questions out there, guys? Feel free to unmute yourself or drop it in the chat. We're happy to answer.
It's a bummer seeing all these machines off, though. I'll tell you that.
We'll be back to normal here soon, I'm sure.
So this is what it looks like when it's completely blacked out in the locations. You're going to get a black and white image, but you're still getting very good quality.
Yeah, definitely worth noting, guys. All of our cameras have IR illuminators built into them, so our cameras work great with their some light, no light, or lots of light at night. Again, these are machine learning cameras. They're going to get smarter over time. They're going to get used to what they're looking at. And again, always evaluating. And through their inclusion points, again, trying to give you the best picture quality over time. It actually will probably get a little better over time. And again, at night, you can have full assurance that you'll be able to get a clear picture.
Awesome. Well, I know we're going a little bit over. Let us know if there are any other questions. We'll stay on for a couple more minutes. As a follow-up, we'll be sending an email out with the slides as well as the recording of the webinar. So feel free to share that with your team. And if any other questions do come up, you'll have my contact information as well as John's contact information, and feel free to give us a call or shoot us an email. And we'd be more than happy, as John mentioned, to send out a couple of free demo cameras to set up within one or two of your locations just to test out in your environment.
All right.
Good job.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.